Page 20 on Andante. This is number 2 at the bottom of the page. They say it's an excerpt. An excerpt is just a little bit of something. So the actual Andante, I guess, is a lot longer than this. Yeah, okay. Here we get these eighth notes all over the place. Broken chords. The idea is they're all even and all controlled. It sounds like one hand plays them all, although we'll talk about that. I'll look it over. It's 2 lines long. Treble, bass, clef. No sharps or flats in the key signature. It's either in the key of C major or A minor. If we check the last measure, it's this. It's an A minor chord. I'm guessing it's an A minor. I can't remember if you're doing scales and arpeggios yet. I don't know if you're doing those yet. If you are, you know which ones to do. If not, never mind. 3/4 time signature and eighth notes everywhere. The hands are playing one at a time. We'll take both hands together. Left hand is here. Right hand starts here. And the broken chords. 1 and 2 and 1 and come up. Right hand moves a little. That's really all it is. Last 2 measures you hear. Some people like me would not do a 2-3-5. We would do a 2-4-5. And a 3 at the end. But you can use fingering in the book. Gives you practice at that. However, the last measure, when I play the C, the A comes up. Rest. And that last note is just an eighth note. So I get the notes and the rhythms down, and then I go back over and make sure there's no hesitations anywhere. It would be handy if you could play this, as well as the last one, without having to look at the keyboard eventually. So you can move up and down a little bit without looking. You can feel that distance. Then I'll add the articulation, and here it's connected. These are slurs. They're not phrases. We don't necessarily lift up before or after a slur. It depends on what the music needs. If I lift up on each of these, it's kind of choppy. That last note in each measure is a little short. So I'm going to connect this all the way through. Then I add the dynamics. Start out soft, you're going to crescendo up to something and then come back down to something. And the second line, you start out mezzo forte and you crescendo up to something and come back down probably to mezzo forte or something. I don't know. It doesn't say. Well, that's interpretation. How loud do you think you should get? The first line, soft. Louder. And start the 4th measure the same loudness and then come down. So each one of these gets softer. I don't know how, medium soft or medium loud or whatever. I don't know. And then measure 5, you start medium loud and go up to loud. So the measure 7, I'm starting that loud because I'm still loud. It's my impression of it. Other people would interpret it differently, and that's wonderful. How do you feel it should be interpreted? How do you feel? You follow these dynamics as a general guide? How do you do it? And then the speed. Well, Andante is just a leisure stroll. Is that the beat? Or is that the overall flow of the beats? If I do a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's kind of a stroll. We're just strolling along, not headed anywhere in particular, just kind of taking your time. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. That's how you feel on the speed of the beat. If it's maybe the flow, you might want it more like a measure at a time. In. Yeah, 1, 2, sounds kind of fast with all these running eighth notes, so it's interpretation. I have a feeling it's more like the speed of the beat on this one. Now, something to keep in mind, one of the things that natural accents really help us out. The natural accent, the first beat of the measure is it in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And when you divide beats up like this, eighth notes, each beat gets a slight one. So 1, 2, and 3. And I'm exaggerating so you can hear them better. The idea is it's a difference. If you don't put in the natural accents, you could play this way. Like in 6/8 time, you think, oh, is this, No, it's important, those natural accents, that the listener knows you're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and. Regardless of how fast you go, it's got to be a 1 and 2 and 3 and throughout. Let's play this together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'll give us 3 counts. I'm not going to do the dynamics. We're just checking notes and rhythms. Now, it's eighth notes all over everywhere, so I'm going to put the metronome on eighth notes, but I'm going to give us 3/4 note counts to come in. 1 and ready and go and.